truth is, we have become so intellectual that we have lost our connection with our heart. We operate purely from our minds. Even our emotions are dictated by our minds. We have stopped emoting from our being. We have lost touch with our inner core. When we arrived in this world, we were in a state of celebration and spontaneity. Over the years, society conditioned us and created the mind for us. The mind then solidified itself and started dictating terms to us. The spontaneity in us has got lost. Let me tell you, in this whole process of shedding our ego, we are trying to rediscover the child in us. When we were young, we were closer to realizing God. As we grew and became so-called mature, our social conditioning simply marred the child in us. So many people ask me, Swamiji, how is it that although you speak on the ultimate truth, you appear to be so childlike? Now you tell me, am I childlike because I have not grown up and become mature? You simply interpret things in your own convenient ways, in your own philosophical ways. That is the problem. But for societal conditioning, we have the ability to swim and fly without any training. It may sound absurd to you, but it is true. We have these abilities in us. We can swim and fly until people start telling us that we are not capable of swimming and flying. If you place a newborn baby in a swimming pool, it will stay afloat without drowning. The ego manifests itself in so many ways, and we live according to it every minute of our lives. We all actually use masks in our day-to-day lives. We use one mask when we deal with our mother. We use a different mask when we deal with our father. We use a different one for our boss, and so on. As long as we use the right mask with the right persons, it is all right. The moment we use the wrong mask with a person, it means that your ego has stepped in. All you have to do is switch masks efficiently and enjoy the show. Then you are a watcher and not involved in the game as a solid entity. You can enjoy only when you know that you are something beyond the mask. Else you will get carried away by the mask and lose the whole charm of life. When you know that you are only using masks, your desires drop. It is like this. When you grow up, you automatically drop your toys, is it not? The toys don't interest you anymore. In the same way, when you look at these masks intelligently, you don't have any desire for them. You simply use them and keep moving. Ego manifests itself in many cunning ways. That is why all these explanations are needed on it. All these will help you see where you are standing as a blockage in your own journey inwards. The lesser blockages you have inside, the more fluid and flowing you become. When you have lesser blocks, you are more porous and vulnerable. When you have many blocks, you are solid and difficult to penetrate. Your ego poses such a solid barrier to everything. For example, whenever someone says something to you, what is your first reaction to it? Your first reaction is a certain resistance, a no. When you say no, it is so ego-fulfilling. You feel solid and firm inside yourself. When you say yes, you feel liquid and vulnerable. Your ego feels submissive, so you say no. This is also why you feel good when you break rules at home or school or workplace or anywhere. Actually, the moment you defy a rule, you'll have a great feeling about yourself. School and college students feel good when they cut classes. Why? because they feel boosted in their ego when they say no to the rules. With small children, the moment you say that they are not meant to have certain things, they will ask only for that. Grown-ups also enjoy defying each other in so many ways. Husband and wife rarely concur in the first instance of any suggestion. Take for example our own devotees. If the husband gets attached to me first, the wife's first reaction will be only resistance to me. She might even read my books secretly and like them, but in front of the husband, she will not be willing to embrace me. The same holds good for the wives who get attached to me first. Their husbands will do all that they can do to make it difficult for them before finally falling in tune with me. Such is the play of ego. Saying yes keeps you flowing naturally in a liquid state with no blocks. This does not mean that you should blindly say yes to everything. No, it means take a decision trusting your spontaneity without the influence of your ego, that's all. Automatically you will fall in tune with the right things. Understand that saying no is not a cautious move or any protective force that is going to be your guardian angel. Just be open without resistance and preconceptions. That is enough. But Swamiji, I was thinking till now that claiming self-importance is the only manifestation of ego. No. Ego comes in various forms, active and passive, which we have been discussing till now. That is why it is such a tricky element to discern. The active ego is easy to recognize. People with active ego will behave in a high-handed fashion. They will claim self-importance openly. They will not bend down to people. They will be haughty. This ego is actually easy to deal with for a master. He just needs to bang on it a few times and it will break. A small story. One man lost all his wealth in gambling and got reduced to almost a pauper. One day he went to a roadside hotel and sat at the table for breakfast. The waiter came to take orders. The man was surprised. The waiter was his old friend who had been as rich as he had been earlier. He looked at him and said, "You serve as a waiter in this sort of a hotel?" The man replied, "I'm only a waiter. I don't eat here." Active ego is very easy to recognize. A person with an active ego will not be willing to let go of it even if all his other defenses like money, wealth, etc. are taken away from him. Active ego can be easily pruned. But passive ego is very subtle and cunning. People who have passive ego will pose to be very humble, lacking courage to face people, shying away from taking credit, etc. The worst part of this is they think they are like this because they are not egoistic. The truth is they are more egoistic than the other lot. They are so carefully guarding their ego from getting hurt by doing all these humble things. When you are in deep awareness and understanding, you will be a mere watcher of your ego. And in this state, you will be automatically neither humble nor egoistic. You will neither take credit nor shy away from it. And you will not even think or claim that you are neither of these. You simply will be, that's all. When anyone appreciates you or gives you credit, you'll simply resonate with existence and leave it at that, that's all. And there will be no need for any comparison or claim. So be very clear. Most often people think that active ego is the only kind of ego ever present. No, there is something called passive ego, which is what we just discussed, and this is more difficult to deal with. People with active ego are like a dried and hard twig.